Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to demystify the official annual plan for Villegas Middle School. Now, I know these documents can feel a little heavy, right? But don't worry, we're going to break it all down and make it super easy to understand. Let's get right into it.
Have you ever wondered what the actual game plan is at your student school? What are the big goals? What are the tough challenges? And more importantly, what's the strategy to make sure every student succeeds? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
You see, every single school has one of these game plans. It's basically their roadmap for the entire year. And if you really want to understand how a school is working to support its students, you got to understand the plan.
So, the official name for this thing is the SPSA, the School Plan for Student Achievement. Kind of formal, right? Let's make it simpler. Just think of it like an annual health checkup for the school. It looks at all the vital signs, it diagnoses the areas that need a little extra care, and then it writes a prescription, a treatment plan to improve the health and success of every student. And it's all built on real data, and this part is key, on feedback from parents, teachers, and even students. Okay, so before we dive into the diagnosis, let's meet our patient. To really get a feel for the plan, we first need to know the community of students that it's designed to serve.
Right off the bat, you can see Villegas is a really diverse school, which is fantastic. The largest group is Hispanic students, making up more than 2/3 of the student body. Then you have white, African American, and Asian students. This diversity is a huge strength, and it also means the school's plan has to be really thoughtful to meet the unique needs of every single student walking through those doors.
Now, this next number is absolutely crucial for understanding the school's mission. 77%. That's how many students at Villegas are identified as socioeconomically disadvantaged. This can be a major barrier to learning, and it means the school's plan can't just be about books and tests. It has to be about comprehensive support, making sure every kid has a fair shot at success, no matter their circumstances.
And the plan also puts a special focus on other important groups, like students with disabilities and students who are learning English. You can see the numbers there. Each of these groups brings unique challenges and strengths. And the school's plan, that SPSA, has to provide specific, targeted support to help them thrive.
All right, so we've met the patient. Now let's open up the chart and look at the results from that annual checkup. This is the hard data, the diagnosis that tells us where the school is really healthy and where it needs to focus its energy to get better.
And let's start with some really good news. The school's overall suspension rate is in the green, according to the state, which is awesome. It's even declined by almost 3%. This is a huge win. It tells us that the school's efforts to create a positive, supportive climate are definitely paying off.
Now for the areas that are kind of like a check engine light on the dashboard. Both chronic absenteeism, that means students missing a lot of school, and the progress that English learners are making, both are in the orange category. This is the state's way of saying, hey, pay attention here, it's a major priority.
And here, these are the real red flags, the areas that need the most urgent attention. The data is pretty clear. In math, our English learners are really struggling. When it comes to school climate, the suspension rate for African American students is way too high. And for attendance, our homeless youth are missing school at the highest rates. These are the critical challenges that the plan absolutely has to address head-on.
Let's actually see what this looks like. In English language arts, the school overall is about 18 points below the state standard. But look at the difference for English learners, and then the even bigger gap for students with disabilities. This picture tells us that a one-size-fits-all approach to reading and writing just isn't going to cut it.
And wow, if you thought that gap was big, take a look at math. The gap here is even wider. The average for all students is about 50 points below standard, but look how much further behind our English learners and students with disabilities are. This is exactly why math for these students was flagged in bright red in our diagnosis.
So, that's the diagnosis. A mix of some real strengths and some very clear challenges. But a good doctor doesn't just hand you a diagnosis and walk away, right? They give you a treatment plan. So now, let's look at the school's prescription for success.
And remember, this plan isn't just something the school came up with on its own. It's built on what the community is asking for. When parents and advisory groups say, we want you to target reading and writing, the school listens. That feedback gets woven right into the goals.
So the whole treatment plan boils down to 3 big, clear goals. Number 1, boost academics. Number 2, build a pathway for college and career. And number 3, strengthen that feeling of engagement and connection for every single student and family. Simple, right? Let's see how they do it.
For that first goal, boosting academics, the prescription gets right to the heart of what we saw in the data. It calls for a laser focus on literacy, using teaching methods that are proven to work.
It also means providing extra, targeted support for English learners and students with disabilities in both reading and math. It's all about using data to make sure every kid gets exactly the help they need to succeed. For goal number 2, the school is thinking way beyond just getting through middle school. The plan is to push more students into challenging courses like AVID, that's a program specifically designed to get students ready for college, and honors classes. The idea is for every student to start building a roadmap for their future and to get families in on that conversation with more college and career events. It's all about planting those seeds of possibility early.
And for goal 3, this is where they directly tackle those red flags we talked about. The plan is all about using alternatives to suspension, implementing programs like PBIS, which focuses on positive behavior, and creating incentives to get kids to school every day. This is how they're addressing the specific challenges faced by their homeless and African American students, all to build a school climate where every single student feels like they belong.
So there you have it. That's the diagnosis and the prescription. But any good wellness plan requires a team effort. The school can't do this all by itself.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that Yasmel Villegas Middle School has a really thoughtful, data-driven plan in place. They know their strengths and they're facing their challenges head-on. But for this plan to really work, for the school's health to truly improve, it's going to take a real partnership between the school, the students, and you, the families.
And you might be wondering, okay, how can I get involved? Well, there are actually a ton of ways. You can go to the school site council meetings. They're the ones who help approve this very plan. If you have a student learning English, you can join the English Learner Advisory Committee, or ELAC. You can always get involved with the PTO. Or hey, you can simply show up for the parent workshops and school events. Every little bit of involvement makes a huge difference.
Which really brings us to the final question. The game plan is set, the path forward is clear. The only question left is for you, the community. How will you be a partner in making sure every student succeeds? Thanks so much for tuning in.